What's up, guys? In this video, you're going to see a conversation that I recently had between me and Will and Alex from PsychonautVisions. Now, they're a YouTube channel that I've featured many times in the past on my channel in my collaboration conversation series, and I always love talking to them. And they kind of took, over the past few months or so, they've kind of taken a break from posting YouTube videos. And just recently, Alex hit me up and said we should all get together and have a conversation. And he kind of had the idea in mind of recording it so he can post it on his channel. And like I said, I'm always down to talk to these guys. So that's what you're gonna see in this video, is a conversation between us. And what we talk about is mainly psychedelics, our sort of drive and curiosity in working with psychedelics, as well as intention of why having an intention with psychedelics is important, and sort of what our intentions are with psychedelics moving forward. Now, at first, I was kind of contemplating whether or not I should even post this, because the way we did the conversation was, it was on Zoom. And if you don't know, each Zoom session can only be 40 minutes long. So the entire conversation itself was about 2 hours or so long. And Alex was the host, so he was the only one that could record the conversation. And he only recorded one session. And it was kind of like the second or third session we had. So the conversation just picks right up in like the middle of everything we talked about. And I was wondering whether or not I should post this, because, it's not the entire conversation and it just kind of picks up somewhere. But I figured, what the hell? I'm gonna share it with you guys. I'm gonna, of course, send it back to him so he can post it on his channel. But yeah, if you're into this stuff, I really hope you guys enjoy this. We talk a lot about, as I said, psychedelics and intention. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy. And I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you.
Where psychedelics aren't something where you do it once or you do it several times or you do it a shitload of times and suddenly it's like, oh, okay, I got it. I mean, maybe that's the case for some people, but I feel like me and a lot of other people as well, obviously you guys, realize that like it's an ongoing conversation. It's like a friend. You don't get the message from the friend and be like, all right, see, never talk again. No, it's something where, just like this, where out of the blue, we just suddenly decide to sit down and have a conversation and just share and experience each other. And I feel like that's kind of the same vibe with psychedelics, where I'm not done tripping. It's not like I'm never tripping again. And I like the way Ram Dass puts it, where he says, I don't know if I'm going to take LSD tomorrow or if I'll never trip again. It's not like I have any sort of set in stone thing, but I do have this feeling that it's an ongoing conversation. And it's just that the last few conversations me and psychedelics have had were like really rich, like really rich. And I said, okay, hold on. Because in a way I did fear for my mental health. I feared of, can I handle this? What I'm experiencing? Can I handle these things that I'm feeling and perceiving? Not like the visuals, but the feeling of realization and the mental change that takes place on psychedelics. Really wondering, should I be doing this? Is this safe for me? And I know a lot of people think that's a silly question. Of course it's safe. You can't die. You can handle it. You just need to surrender.
But it's the psychological aspects of it, though.
Right.
It seemed unsafe for me for a while, but
in what way?
I mean, just the way, like the last time I took shrooms, with Will and our other friend, the ego death, and there's just like a lot of challenging themes to go through, just almost like accepting like all was lost. It just seemed like all right, I guess this is it. And the reality that I once knew was gone. It seems like dangerous in that sense because I just wasn't at a good place mentally for a long time, but I feel like I've taken a lot of steps in the right direction in my own healing journey, coming to the point where psychedelics is just a thing that I want to do again. So I'm thinking too much in my own head, and then I can't uh like you like looking at your faces, and then I stop to think like, what am I saying? Is what I'm saying making sense?
We're fucking aliens, bro. Nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
We literally have these little robots in front of us that we're looking at, where we're seeing iterations of our forms, where you two are way the fuck over in California or whatever. I'm in Maine. It's like, what is going on?
Well, let me say what I wanted to say for a second. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I'm trying to think of what I wanted to say in response to both of you, because what you're saying, both of you, is something that I feel like I really resonate with in terms of just having a relationship with psychedelics. And it just seems like there's some sort of pool that I'm having, like you were saying, Northwood. Funny calling that. I should just call you by your actual name at this point, dude.
My name is Darren. I'm just kidding. It's Devin.
I was like, no way, your name is Darren. But anyways, Devin, you're saying something about
Bill.
the way you're pulled back into psychedelics. You had a certain way of how you said it. I can't remember.
I feel like we can all comfortably say, for some reason, we got drawn into working with psychedelics, whether it was, shit. Obviously, it was shit we were hearing, watching, learning about. A fascination grew. And it's very evident that it completely blew our fucking minds out of the waters. And we're kind of taking time to assimilate and, piece together what it was that we were shown. At least that's how I feel, is like, I can't give enough credit to, or put into words even, the spaces that I was in on psychedelics and go to on psychedelics. Not even just the visuals or thoughts, but the feeling of existing itself, the profundity of that completely shattered lots of concepts in my mind, and it scared the shit out of us. It scared us because we didn't expect that level of the experience, where, like, Terence McKenna talks about, like, you hear, before you've taken psychedelics, you hear all these people talking about their experiences, and you take it like it's some sort of metaphor, like, oh yeah, right, the visuals, oh yeah, crazy realizations, oh yeah, super intense trip. But then you do it yourself and you realize, holy fuck, it's not a metaphor, it's real. It's like actually what they're talking about. You know what I mean? And you kind of, I don't know, man. It's so interesting. And like, I feel like a big question is like, this is something, I wonder and ponder on, is why am I drawn to psychedelics? What are they? Are they just drugs? Or is it that we sense something profound going on in that space behind the drama of our mind and the excitement or fear or whatever? There's something very, very deep and eternal and alive within that space. And wondering, what is my relation to that? Why do I feel connected to that? And how can I integrate and, you know, work with what it is that psychedelics are showing me. Because I'm not interested in just like messing with my senses for a duration of time and then carrying on being a schmuck the rest of the week or month or however long, you know what I mean? What I'm interested in is using these substances in a way that allows me to have insight on my life and the parts where I'm not whole, not complete feeling, or not satisfied, or not doing the negative thing, creating my own bullshit. And DMT, for one, is something that you do it, and, you know, just circumstantially speaking, you know, you do it and you come out of it going, now what the fuck do I do with that? Like, that was insane, but how does that relate to me and like my life and bettering myself? You know, that like that's a big question in my mind, is what is the work that's being done through using psychedelics as a means of working on ourselves? What are we to make of it?
Well,
You know,
what you were saying about at the beginning of what you were saying when you started talking again, I was relating it to what you were saying earlier and what we were talking about previously when our Zoom call ended. You're saying that psychedelics are this very beautiful experience. And you talking about it like that just reminded of the way you're talking about it. And that's part of the reason why I want to go back. You know, there's multiple intentions that I want to set with it for my own healing journey. And just processing the shit that I've been through with my dad, you know, maybe things that I've been through with my girlfriend and concerns about sexuality and just like what does sexuality mean in terms of being human, things like that. I feel like I have much more meaningful intentions behind going into it again and just actually trying to face that journey within and just sitting there in discomfort if it's necessary.
yep.
I feel like I'm intentionally putting myself into discomfort already. Like physically, I'm trying to like take cold showers more often. I'm like getting into reading. It's just fiction that I'm reading, but you know, it's something like just to inspire creativity and imagination. Uh, I just feel like it would be good for me. And I don't know, I'm trying to improve my relationship with my girlfriend. Um, and just trying to gain her trust back in the situation that we're going through. And there's just a lot of things, you know, like I can go into like to set my mind on, but it's not just that. I also want to connect with nature. Like I have this strong pull to want to do it for that reason as well. Because I miss my connection with nature. I miss what it felt like to feel more spiritual, and I kind of lost that. There's more significance behind going into it this time, and I feel like it's time
It's time to level up.
to face
What's
it. I keep having thoughts of going through the action of going to like San Francisco and buying an eighth of shrooms. Or probably I was thinking actually like 5 grams, but oh, it might be pretty intense even outside.
it could be very intense at that dose, bro. Like if you get good mushrooms, 2 grams will like have you off your fucking rocker, bro. Let alone 5 grams. And see, that's the thing, is we all know of this heroic dose of 5 dried grams of mushrooms, but that was Terence McKenna back in the 80s, before mushroom cultivation was as advanced as it is, and before the species of mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms, that we have today weren't even bred back then. So he probably had some low-key bunk poopy mushrooms and needed to take 5 grams. But like if you bought like penis envies or those albino whatever they're called, and you take 5 grams of those motherfuckers, you are going to be in like DMT level experiences if it's good mushrooms, where you're no longer hanging out in nature and wondering like about your relationship with your girlfriend or your parents or whatever. You'll be fucking gone, bro. You'll be like deep in the psychedelic realm, you know?
I get what you're saying about that. I get what you're saying about being like lost in that world, because that's what it felt like to me. I mean, it even feels like that on lower doses, but you know, that last trip I had, I haven't tripped for a year and a half. So I mean, it's just been such a long time that it gives me the time to like really contemplate my relationship with shrooms. And when you're talking about being lost in that reality where like what's going on with my girlfriend, my dad, whatever, you know, it was all like behind me. It just didn't feel at that point anymore. I was really lost. Anyways, I don't really have like too much else to say in regards to that. I was just wondering what your thoughts are, Will, because you haven't spoken in a while.
Regarding psychedelics in particular?
Yeah, just like generally centered or like relating to anything we were just talking about.
So yeah, to start, you mentioned like you were reading and trying to take cold showers. I think that's one thing towards our own people call it like vibration, whatever. I say like state of mind, like your own state of mind throughout a given day. What really impacts that is literally just your own habits. Like, and it's small. It's not as big as we make it out to be. Because I feel like, you know, I have my days, like I said, but for the most part, being able to actually try and stay consistent and disciplined has really helped. Like, yeah, I'll read and I'll try and go to the gym and I'll write. And there's still times like there's just still times where it's not, great. But it's when I do that, when I am productive, that naturally there's just sort of like a more grounded feeling of being at peace. And that's been a big thing, I would say, over the past year, particularly with me, is just kind of going with the flow, per se. Like just trying to understand that I am a human being and there's always going to be more. There's always going to be something more, something I'm chasing, something I'm trying to strive towards, something I'm going after. But it's like this, I call it a mountainless or a summitless mountain. It just keep climbing. And with how much is out of our control in this world, and with even like what happens to us, like some things happen, life happens, and your car breaks down or something happens to a friend or a family member, right? They get sick, whatever. These are things you grieve about, but it's like, it's all just a part of the larger process of life. And I think this is kind of where I've kind of combined the psychedelic journey sort of with life in itself. Man, I've really fallen in love with that idea of just like the journey, just like continuously growing and seeing what else I can do, where else I can go, like what can I do, and pertaining to psychedelics, like I'm not in this position where I want to trip soon. Like I'm not really thinking about like Alex, you said, going out to San Francisco and picking up mushrooms. I haven't really had those thoughts, but I do believe that it's going to happen at some point again, and I want to make sure that there's some kind of intention behind it. Like, why am I doing this? Am I just doing this because I feel like it's been a while? Like, am I doing this because I feel like I need to?
Right.
Or am I doing this because it feels like there's something that I'm really trying to experience? Like there's something calling me, there's something out there that I'm trying to, I can't even describe, I can't put it into words, but it's there. And whenever that time comes, then my dog's barking. But yeah, whenever that time comes, it'll happen. So
Kevin, that's what you said earlier that I was trying to think of. You said calling. That's
yeah.
the
1 second, my dog's barking.
No, man.
I,
Yeah.
that's part of why I wanted to get us all together, because I think maybe it would be a good thing for me if I am really trying to jump back into this again, like just talking to you guys about it, just because we shared these experiences. I mean, we didn't like share it in terms of like being with you, but I mean, we've like shared it in terms of just like the beginning of our journey with psychedelics. We've all like
Yeah.
shared to each other those experiences.
I had a crazy thought of imagining people like you guys and myself getting together and taking psychedelics together, and realizing that like what brought us together is this space that we're now in called tripping, which is just such a, like, the fact that we're like obviously imagining or envisioning being with you guys or whoever tripping together, realizing that the reason we're together is because of this space that we don't quite like, we can't grasp, but something about it calls us into it, pulls us into it, you know? And like,
It's so mystical.
yeah, like I feel, you guys keep saying intention, and the way I used to look at intention with psychedelics was I knew I was gonna do it, whether like that day or that night or whatever, and like, or I'd be sitting out in the woods about to smoke DMT, and I'd think of intention. It's important to have an intention, and I'd realize I know why I'm doing this. I don't have to sit and recite it to myself. I know why I'm interested in. I know why I'm sitting here and I'm gonna do this. But now, having gone through the experiences I did and the time I haven't taken them, and also this past week of how strangely I've been thinking about working with psychedelics again, kind of like it seems at least you, Alex, are feeling. But I realized that what I think I want to do is, I don't know the date, but this summer I'm gonna go out into my woods, because you know my grandfather owns a bunch of wooded land. I'm gonna go out into my woods with a tent, and I'm gonna have my DMT with me, and I'm gonna build a fire, and I'm gonna hang out, and I'm gonna sit, and I'm gonna do ceremonial type things of centering myself and just being in this moment with nature and with self and everything, and then doing a large amount of DMT, a breakthrough dose of DMT, whether I just do one trip or come down and want to keep doing it, whatever it is. I feel like I want to put myself out there and I want to do it again. And the feeling of intention, realizing that I do this time have a feeling of an intention, where that intention is, I want to move beyond or through or work with this feeling of fear that I have towards psychedelics. I want to work with that. But also, I want to have insight into why I use psychedelics. I want to see more clearly and vividly what this is all about of taking psychedelics. Because, you know, like, some people will just take psychedelics and it scrambles their shit and they go, wow, that was crazy. But nothing comes out of it. And because, like, if I think to myself, why do I take psychedelics? I don't know. And I want, if I do have an intention, it's to work with the fear and to see in a deeper way why psychedelics are relevant to me, what it means to what I am and what this is. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, you kind of just want that insight. And
Of like, what is this all about? Why am I out here taking psychedelics? Because I'm not just trying to have a good time. There's something deeper going on about it, where we feel that something is in that space that is valuable and representative of something powerful. But we, like, at least I can't quite put my finger on it with all the experiences I've had.
That's
And
exactly how I feel too.
yeah,
I can relate to that for sure.
like just the intent of, if I do have an intention, it's why do I feel called to work with psychedelics? Remind me again of why I'm even out here doing this. And every experience, man, like, I don't know, there's psychedelics are all around the board profound and incredible, but there's something about DMT, man, where there's just too much weird stuff going on, where it's in all living organisms. It's in your brain, it's in all of us, it's in all these plants. It's theorized to be produced in the pineal gland, which is the third eye, and it's theorized to be the cause of dreams. It's theorized that to be the cause of near-death experiences. And there's just all this weird shit surrounded around DMT. And when I do it, man, it's like it's a timeless space. It's like, I don't know. That's where you go off into realms of, ineffable descriptions of the experience itself. But there is just something about that space that is just all encompassing, knowing,
What I noticed particular about psychedelics is like every time, like I never remember the feeling, and then I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what it's like to be tripping on however many grams of mushrooms or whatever.
Yeah.
And like,
or
it's
like
like
you stop tripping, like, or like it up where it left off.
Yeah, dude. Like you forget. Like right now, at least for me, it's like I can't remember a lot of the things that have happened or a lot of the feelings or visuals, whatever that's there. It's hard to recollect, but then you're there and it's kind of just like this other sort of feeling. It's almost like I don't know how exactly to describe it. That's the thing, right? You can't really describe it with words. It's hard to depict exactly where that space is, but when you're there, all you can do is feel it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a feeling. It's a certain.
It's like talking about, visiting. Just for example, like visiting California, talking and imagining what it's like to visit California, and then going to California, and there it is. You are in California, and then when you go back to wherever you're from, remembering being in California, how that's not being in California. It's a memory of what it was like for you to be in California. And that, like, because I absolutely can relate to that feeling of not remembering that space itself. And I don't know, I feel like it's simply because we're not on it. We're not in that. We're not vibrating at that level, obviously, because we haven't taken that substance. But no, that feeling is very much there, where when you go back, you remember, and you're there again. You're visiting again. It's back. It never stopped, and here you are again. And it's been going on the whole time, but you just kind of created this little cloud around your mind of your opinion of psychedelics and why you're not taking it and all that, and it all just kind of washes away back into, oh my God, here we are,
I could like clearly remember tripping before in the past and thinking about mushrooms, and then like just thinking mushroom, like what I took shrooms, like that does, like what is that? Like what is mushrooms? It seems like something more than just like this thing that I just ate. Like going down that type of thought train while I'm tripping, like just questioning what is this thing? Like mushrooms, like that doesn't even sound real.
I know what you're saying, homie. I really feel what you're saying when you say that, of like I remember you telling me, like, the idea that you had a girlfriend made no fucking sense at all.
Oh
And like,
yeah. I
like, or like I'm like, I remember like just thinking like, am I human? Like I am somebody that,
Yeah.
hey, I'm Devin. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is that? And
Bro,
like,
I was just thinking about this shit yesterday. I wasn't even on shrooms. Like the idea of like like I am, you know, I'm
like, what
something.
is Alex?
Yeah, like what does that even mean, bro? Let alone like human. You know, I could have been a fucking dog. I
dude,
could have been.
do you think you'd be in there going, what is reality, bro? Like, who am I if you were a dog?
No, I mean like from what it seems, like observing it from the outside, they seem a little, I mean, not as like self-aware, I would say.
A little more content.
Yeah, I mean they're just kind of experiencing, you know. Like
Yeah.
we're so caught up in everything going on up here.
Like, isn't that crazy to think that this right now is not only the absolute outer moment of existence itself, the outer edge. This is the moment. This is the universe happening as we speak. But the fact that we're fucking aware, we're here right now. Like, what are we? What are we doing right now? We're literally going to like rot and decay over the next 50 years. And then what? Like, what is this, bro?
Yeah, like what? It doesn't make any sense. Like,
Oh
how
my
the fuck did
god.
this? How did this happen? I feel like the funniest thing is that here we are, right? And it's like this house, this laptop that I'm talking to you guys on, it's just normal, but it's not.
It's not,
It's not normal. Like, how did this happen?
not normal, right, bro? Everything, like we talk about ordinary and normal and routine and boring and all that shit. Everything from the thought of what this is to this itself is fucking pulsating with mystery. Like this, what is this, you know? And like, you can just, oh, that's just those kind of thoughts. And oh, that's just that feeling of excitement. And oh, I'm thinking philosophically. But like every layer of this very moment right now is a mystery. We don't know what the fuck's going on. You know, religion is a concept. Spirituality is a concept. Atheism is a concept. Science is a concept. And everything we associate certain reality in, like that's real, that's truth, those are facts over there, and that's just imagination. We're creating all these little subcategories out of our fucking minds. Like we don't know what this is. And like all the poets and artists and musicians and authors and adventurers and celebrities, everything is from this experience of not knowing, but being here. Like, what are we gonna do? What's there to do, you know?
Who knows where it leads?
Is it leading somewhere?
Yeah.
Or just here?
Is it some kind of like cyclical experience too?
Right.
Imagine we just live the same life over and over and over.
And you start to realize you are.
Yeah.
Like, fucking Groundhog Day up here.
Yeah. What if that's where our deja vu comes from?
Don't you ever have a feeling, like, even to bring up psychedelics again, like that? What was so strange, the very first time I took LSD, I was like, oh, I remember this. Holy shit, I remember tripping on LSD, but I had never tripped on LSD. What the fuck and it was so real of a feeling of I've been here. Holy shit. Like, it made me think I had a past life when I was back in the 60s taking LSD, because that's how it felt. Like, holy fuck, I understand the hippies, bro, and like all the people that, you know, Ram Dass and Timothy Leary and Alan Watts and Terence McKenna. I feel like I've been here before. and also in a broader sense of just life itself. Like, don't you ever have the feeling that like you've done this before? Like, this isn't your first rodeo, you know?
Yeah, but it's like you have no idea what was, how you experienced anything, you know. But I understand that feeling though.
It's
Like this isn't the first time I've been here. Even on psychedelics, yeah, like thinking about 60s and 70s and you know back then how people would trip and stuff and Terence McKenna's time and I'm kind of understanding through well to be fair Terence McKenna's speeches can be difficult to follow sometimes but
I feel
like,
that, bro.
I tried listening to him recently, and so, like before going to bed, cause it helps me fall asleep. Just the way he talks.
Rounds and silent darkness. It's like, oh, that doesn't cut the mustard. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
I just
Like,
don't know what he like how to interpret what he says, because sometimes I listen to what he's saying, it could be like a belief of his before he changed his belief pattern or something.
I literally know what you're talking about, Will. And I realized not too long ago, probably within the last 2 weeks, and I've felt this way for a while, but I realized because I was listening to Terence, and I realized Terence is the kind of guy that, like, if you just kind of put him on in the background and let your mind wander and then occasionally tune in to him talking, you're like, what the fuck kind of like abstract symbolism is he talking about? But the thing with Terence is if you find the thread of logic and sense that he's actually talking about, it's really far out. And you're like, wow, like that's crazy what he's actually talking about, you know?
No, I mean, I get some of the things he says, but at the same time, it's just like he'll be talking about like a belief he has, and like it could be coming before he changes his mind about that particular belief. So it's just a matter of like taking what he's saying with a grain of salt.
yeah
The way he pictures life and like the experience of living as a whole could change over time.
I know, and like you know how like on certain Instagram accounts, certain people's accounts, they only have like 5 posts or 12 posts, and it's like, where'd all that shit go that was in the past, you know? And you keep deleting your past to fit the narrative of where you are now, where you I count these photos that you see, this is who I am right now. And you know, later down the road, years down the road, months down the road, you are a different person and feel different and carry yourself differently. So you delete that shit, you know, like
I've done that shit I'm not gonna lie
like yeah, right. Or
I
like
think all of us have.
like looking back on your like just in particular, like me looking back at my old videos, like when I hadn't had the realization that was to come, and now I look back at that video like, damn, I was speaking from a place of complete like unawareness or lack of awareness of whatever it was. Like, I guess just what I'm talking about is like, do we delete the past, or do we judge someone because their opinion changes over time, or do we like understand that you're not gonna realize it and then hold on to it forever? You're going to shift and flow in different ways and look at yourself in different ways over time, you know?
yeah
It's just interesting to hear what he says though, just because he like is committed or was committed to trying to like unlock more of the mystery of the mushrooms. So just kind of listening to him from like out of respect more so than like actually thinking like he's like some invincible guru or something.
yeah
Just kind of like respecting his experience and like, wow, this man's gone pretty far deep the rabbit hole, or pretty deep in the rabbit hole.
And that's why you respect people's experiences, like you said, because it's like everyone has their own, and there is such a. It's so mysterious. It's so like it's like a forest, bro. It's like that calling you get. It's like you see this forest that's enchanted in the distance, but you don't know it's there. But there's something about it that's like alluring to you.
Yeah, right, bro.
So you just get gravitated towards it, and
That forest painting right there in the back. That's
yeah,
why
there
I
you
like
go.
it so much.
That's
The-
really
It's just
Yeah,
like
dope.
deep in the woods. I should like walk. We have like less than 20 seconds probably, but we can talk after. We'll just have to like stop recording because this is probably good enough video.
Spider wave right here.
That
Here, let's just end it and start a new one.
okay. All right, see you guys. Awesome talk.